Thank you very much, Isabel. Today I would like to present 3 topics to you that are essential to security. 2 of them might seem obvious to you. The third one, however, is something that is only present in the background. And if I were to ask you about it, you probably would not mention it. And nevertheless, it is essential for us to feel safe and sound within the buildings. Have I made you curious now? Let's start with the topic that I just hinted at. As Christian said earlier, we at Jansen have a strong sense of security, and this includes everyday aspects such as protection against the weather. And what I mean by this is being protected against the storm inside a building and not getting cold and wet when it's raining or snowing inside. And this requires a great deal of preparation and development at Jansen, even though we all consider it to be self-evident. Before I started working as a product manager at Jansen, I'd never thought about their terms like wind load resistance, air permeability, or tightness to driving rain were unknown to me. And yet, these are the things that are responsible for us or make us feel safe within buildings. Let's have a closer look in a video at about what this means.
The climate is changing, and with it, the requirements for cities and houses. Precipitation and water pose a threat at ground level, while severe storms can cause problems higher up. Our facades, windows and doors not only provide a barrier between the inside and the outside, but they can also make a storm seem like a mild breeze. Being in a building where you feel comfortable and knowing that it can withstand anything, to me, that is safety. I'm Mario Lüchinger, and I'm responsible for the test center. We're currently in the technology center. This is where test units are created before they come to me in the test center. We test the entire range of windows and doors, and also have the facility to test facades. This means we can test the entire Jansen range. At the wind, water, air test facility, we test air permeability, tightness against heavy rain, and resistance to wind load. We have to test our products for wind, water, and air so that they can obtain CE certification in order to meet the standards. This enables architects and building owners to ensure that their buildings are safe. The first test carried out on the unit is for air permeability. Using pressure and suction, a measuring instrument determines how much air can be effectively blown or sucked through the unit. The second test is the heavy rain test. This is used to test how watertight a unit is until the unit can no longer withstand it. The third test is the wind test. This uses pressure and suction to test the structural durability or stability of the unit. The wind test tests for gale force winds, which may occur in certain places. The test uses very high pressure to ensure that the unit can withstand these extreme conditions and that nothing could cause injury will fall down. As expected, the test was a success, and we are happy with the result. This enables us as the system provider to guarantee that the units that are manufactured according to our specifications are watertight in specific wind conditions and continue to withstand wind loads even in heavy storms. This reassures the facility manager or the building owner that the unit will withstand firm. will withstand all these conditions. I'm very proud of the tests we run at Jansen and proud of being able to help enhance the systems, make them safer with all the different versions we have available on the market.
So there is quite something to it, that we can feel safe and sound within buildings. We do not only think about today's stresses and strains, but also about future changes. What will urbanization mean for our systems? What kind of air pressure do high buildings have to resist? And how can we tackle climate change? This is why we test our system families in the outside area to their limits and beyond. Be that windows, doors, facades, or our sliding and folding doors. It's always great to see that the materials steel can achieve highest classes of certification. Our Janisol HI door, for example, in terms of heavy rain tightness, it has been certified with 9A, the highest class. And this form of tightness refers to a combination of wind and water, and with the 9A certification, they can withstand rain and storms of up to 160 kilometers per hour, so almost a hurricane. But it's not only the doors that need to stand firm, the same applies to windows. And nevertheless, you as an architect should also be able to realize all your dreams and visions. And therefore, we tested special geometries for our window system last year. We tested 12 different elements in 36 tests, and this kept our test center busy for a whole month. And now you can realize all kinds of designs, for example, curved windows, or the challenging requirements of refurbishing old buildings. But it's not only wind, water, and air that makes us feel safe and the protection against that makes us feel safe in buildings. The same applies to heat insulation or sound protection. I do not want to speak about this in more detail, but I would like to focus on burglar protection. Burglar resistance is another keyword at Jansen. It's something that we concern ourselves with. There are standards that tell us what we need to test and how to classify the result of the testing. My colleague and an expert in terms of burglar protection, Ottmar, will now explain us in a video what this means. And afterward, during the networking session, you can meet him personally and talk to him. But first, let's have a look at the video.
Burglars are rarely on the spot by chance. They are usually well informed and well equipped. In light of this, a basic door is often not sufficient to protect your home. With burglar testing, we ensure that nothing can happen to you if you keep your doors and windows closed. Now, burglar resistance is important for two reasons. Firstly, the situation in Europe has changed. We know from statistics that burglaries have increased, both in the private and the public sector. Secondly, some countries have specific standards that set out a certain level of burglar resistance for all elements used in public and private buildings. My name is Ottmar Eberle. I've been a product manager for steel systems at Jansen since 2012. In actual fact, we subject nearly everything to rigorous testing, from the facade and doors through to windows. This applies to highly insulated, uninsulated, or fire protection systems. We test on an ongoing basis because we know that this is what the market wants and needs, and we want to meet these requirements. Dynamic testing is carried out for burglar resistance as per European standard. This involves dropping a wheel onto the unit, which is intended to simulate the weight of a person. This is followed by static testing, where a pressure cylinder is used to exert pressure. Depending on a class, a certain pressure is applied to different corners and sections that are relative for safety. The final step is the highlight, if I can call it that. This is the manual burglar test, where we exert force on the whole unit with a special toolkit for a specific time. Again, this is done at different points as specified by the standard. In this case, the burglar profile that RC2 doors are intended to withstand represents an average burglar that is often counted today. The door needs to be able to withstand 3 minutes for the manual test. RC3 doors need to withstand 5 minutes of attack from a professional burglar. The decisive factors for the resistance class are the time and the tools available. RC2 is currently seen as the standard for ground-level properties in the private sector because burglars are known to leave after a certain time if they cannot gain access. The danger of being caught is too great after this time. So RC2 is usually adequate in this situation. In the public and commercial sector, RC3 is the preferred option, as these properties have concealed and less frequently used corners. RC3 is standard for these applications. Here too, burglars give up after a certain period of time because they realize that the level of security at the property is too high for them and is well protected with Jansen steel systems. For Jansen, the test was a great success, and for the tested system, because the deformations were very minimal, it was clear from the test that support could be bent over, but all security-relevant parts withstood the test for RC2 and RC3, so we're very happy. Yes, I'm proud that our products are so secure. It's a shame that we need them, but it's just a necessity these days. That said, we can be really proud of our products and systems as they help people to feel and stay safe.
So we just heard it in the video. The situation in Europe has changed, and it will continue to change. I know people too where somebody broke in, and that happened in the countryside and not in the city, as you might expect. We at Jansen know that burglar protection is a very important topic. And this is why we intensely tried to improve and expand and add on to our certifications of a number of Jansen systems last year. With our uninsulated system, for example, the Economy 60, we offer burglar resistance, for example, through the apartment doors in apartment buildings. But we also certified systems for our external areas. Earlier, I always used to think that burglar-resistant doors look like steel-reinforced doors, but this is not true, right? The most beautiful system, in my view, from our range, can simply be adjusted to be burglar-resistant and without losing its beautiful aesthetics. I'm referring to Jansen Arte, our system with a very narrow face width. We can use it for refurbishments, for old industrial buildings, or for elegant new windows. It fulfills the RC2 requirements and certification, which, as we just heard, is the standard on the ground floor in the private area. And for larger openings, we have the lift sliding door system Janisol. And for the commercial sector, we have several RC3 solutions. But we can not only make doors and windows, but also facades burglar resistant. And this year we will launch an RC4 solution from our facade system FIS. So this means that we can integrate all these features in an invisible manner. And we can also include fire protection. And this brings me to the last topic, my topic, fire protection, because I'm actually a product manager for fire protection systems. And those of you who have already had something to do with fire protections in building know that this is a very challenging and demanding topic with many requirements, provisions that need to be fulfilled and standards. But why is fire protection so important and so strictly regulated? Public buildings or hospitals are huge buildings today, or even building complexes. should a fire break out in these buildings and should we have to leave the building, cleared and safe emergency and escape routes can save lives. So I can say I might not be a doctor, but nevertheless, my job can save lives. Of course, fire and smoke protection doors need to be thoroughly tested too. I was actually able to take part in several of these testings, and it's always great to see the tests that have my adrenaline rise. As my colleague Michaela can certainly confirm, she recently was present during a test and will now show us in the video how a testing takes place.
Cities are growing mostly upwards, to the left, to the right. They are becoming more and more crowded, and the more people there are in one place, the more important safety becomes. Whenever I go to a hotel, the first thing I do is look for the fire doors. I also check to see how they have been installed and if they have a wedge underneath and if they are kept open at all times. This is also a security matter. My name is Andreas Kruse. I am site manager at the Fire Protection Test Center. Well, fire safety is so important because it protects people if a fire starts somewhere. For example, in public buildings, there are emergency exits. And if you follow the emergency exits, you always pass through fire doors. With the fire doors closed, the fire remains behind the door, which keeps people safe and gives them time to escape from the building. My name is Michaela Hannesch. I manage the marketing division at Jansen with a special focus on steel systems. We are here in the DMT Test Center for Fire Safety in Latin, where we are fire testing a Jansen AG unit. We always test the entire unit for fire protection testing, the system, the glass, and the whole locking function is tested. During the test, we check regularly to see where any weak points may be, if heat or flames are able to penetrate. Whenever Jansen tests units, we always make sure that our results exceed requirements. The test was successful. I think the test took 36 or 37 minutes. I found it extremely interesting. Being able to stand in front of the unit and touch it with my hand and see that no heat penetrated the unit, that was very impressive. The subject of safety will also be of great importance for Jansen in future. Jansen's units are a marriage of form, design and safety, so you can really depend on them in emergency situations. I am proud of the tests that we run here because they make a contribution towards keeping people safe. I'm proud to be able to make the world a whole lot safer with Jansen products. Well, that was very impressive, I think. So, we saw a 30-minute test in many cases, but we also test them for longer times.
For 60, 90 or 120 minutes, and we don't just do them for doors and windows, but also for fixed glazing, sliding doors and facades. And they all fulfill fire protection requirements and also burglar resistance if you want. And, of course, we also add wind, water and air protection for the external areas. For example, our multifunctional door Janisol 2. With this system, EI30 requirements can be fulfilled. And at the same time, we have a burglar resistance certification of RC3 and an anti-panic function. So this allows full automation and a contact-free passage, which these days cannot be underestimated. So as you can see, we can combine several of these performance parameters within one system. And the combination possibilities are really diverse. And we have something for almost everything and everybody in our range. Almost, because despite the fact that we live in a united Europe, building regulations differ from country to country. and they vary even more on other continents. Our employees and our partners on a global level know the local requirements, however, and they will find the most suitable system for you and your project. And if you're unable to find something in our standard range, then we are happy to develop an object-specific special solution for you. And this is something that you can learn more about in our breakout sessions now, where we will present 3 projects to you with the Jansen solutions that were used for these projects. And I hope to see you all there. See you in a bit.